But there are other things that leaders need to also be doing if they're going to be courageous leaders for equity. And
Mhm.
to me, this is where the neurosciences are really, really powerful. They have to understand how we get brains to talk to each other in ways that build that safety for us to do hard things together. Because that's what leadership is really about. How do we coalesce people to do hard things? And if we're going to close achievement gaps, if we're going to build counter narratives to the dominant narratives about Black and brown and poor children, then we're going to have to band together, right? That's a big lift because white supremacy, inequity by design is hardwired into the system. So courageous leaders really need to understand how to harness the brain to actually get people to do a new thing. And to me, this is where I try to help them understand the neuroscience of trust, right?
Mm.
Because
Mhm.
here's the rub, and what I see happening a lot.
Mhm.
Uh, Leaders want teachers, right? Other community folk to all care about equity. But
Mhm.
for some people, that's hard. They either indulge in microaggressions consciously and often unconsciously.
Mhm.
The challenge isn't that that happens. The challenge is a lot of time the leader is present and doesn't know what to do. So a lot of times
Mhm.
folks just like look ahead, like if we just wait, this will pass. And then we'll go on to the next agenda item. And what I'm really passionate about is helping leaders really understand kind of how you can leverage this idea of the amygdala, the thing that gets hijacked and stresses us out, particularly if
Mhm.
we're trying to lead for equity and we've got to say something. But
That's
if
right.
we understand that we can control that response by rewiring our brain. This is where the power of neuroplasticity starts to have a really yummy effect in education or in leadership in other arenas. So, this idea of being able to get your amygdala not to react in a kind of a startled or defensive way or a stressed way when you start noticing and naming microaggressions. So, the idea is twofold, right? That first, strategy I suggest to leaders is listen, you got a smartphone, get with your phone, videotape yourself saying these things. You know what they say about those kids at school,
Mhm.
right? Get by yourself. You're not trying to interrupt in the moment. You are just trying to get practice. You're writing a script almost for yourself. And you're
Mhm.
helping your brain learn this new script and create a neural pathway. That way, when you're in the moment, your brain doesn't freeze, right?
Right.
So being able to kind of give yourself the tools of that calmness, and that
Mhm.
way you're not rolling up on anyone. So the first order of business is kind of get your own house, emotional house in order, right? And the
Yes.
other is how do we give other folk, an opportunity for some positive cognitive dissonance? And the idea isn't to tell them they're wrong, but to offer them a reframe, right? Here's some research that suggests something different. Another
Mhm.
way to look at this so that the leader doesn't feel like they have to be the microaggression police. And here they come again with that. Instead, offer a new way to think.
Mhm.
It's really
Mhm.
powerful to give someone something to say yes to and not just keep harping on what to say no to.
Mhm.
Part
Mhm.
of
Mhm.
courageous leadership is what do you want to help people say yes to that they feel empowered by that?
Mm.
Cognitive dissonance we need to give them. So those are kind of the two places I start with leaders.